What's up, everybody? It's the Best Bot Kid Smooth back with a quick video. So yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I made a video on my response to Xbox Game Pass price increase, and just to follow up because, like I said, online there's a lot of knee jerk reactions. There's a lot of cancel culture. There's a lot of revolt and whatnot. Same. Price increases sucks. You know what I mean? I don't think even though we expected price increases, right? I think this huge increase so soon, I think just too soon, right? I've always said in earlier days of Planet Xbox, and I think even a couple episodes on Upwood, I said I think the price cap for a Game Pass subscription is honestly $30. As long as the average price of games is $70, and if it goes up to 80, then yeah, you want to be at least within the 40%, 30-40% of the price thresholds of a AAA game, right? But I was like, obviously, before I was saying this though when Game Pass was like 15 and in $20 because it was still relatively cheap. So cheap people this is not sustainable. People were killing Xbox and Microsoft because Game Pass was cheap. It was called the welfare gaming. You know what I mean? So now let's go back. Let's talk about this, right? The what you're hearing now, the verbiage around Game Pass now is cancel. People are canceling, and all this other stuff, right? My thing is that, and I even consider, I don't think I'm not canceling. I will probably, like I said, if anything, I'll probably change the service. If worse comes to worse, I'm probably going to change the subscription I'm on. The canceling is not really an option, and it's not an option really for everyone. And people will soon realize that. And no, I'm not. This is not like a response to Mighty Keith and people who are playing Game Pass exclusively. Once they unsubscribe, they own nothing. You know what I mean? Nope. It's not even going to that far. The thing is that people answer to this is just to unsubscribe, right, or to cancel. Don't support it, right? But this is where Xbox Game Pass differs from the other subscription options, right? If I cancel Netflix because Netflix price went up, my options are Hulu, is Disney, is Amazon Prime, it's whatever, and I'll use that. I'll make do. You know what I mean? If I wanted to cancel Apple Music because they went up or something like that, my options are Spotify. There's some other music options, but Spotify is the alternatives, right? These are options that are easy decisions. With Game Pass, there is no alternative. The other alternative to Game Pass is to buy the game outright. And that's what people are pushing you to do. You own a game, but think about it. Are you buying albums and movies outright? You know what I mean? It's always good to own things, sure. But think about this, right? There is no comparator. There's no real competitor to Game Pass. There is none. Because the first thing people will bring to me is oh, well, PlayStation Plus is a better value. Okay, what does PlayStation Plus to a person that's gaming through subscription on Xbox or PC? PlayStation Plus is not an option. So now you're telling that person to change their gaming habits and move to a separate platform to game through that subscription, because PlayStation Plus does not exist on Xbox, does not exist on Nintendo, does not exist on PC. You know what I mean? It exists on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. And PlayStation 5 would be obviously the real option because you have two generations of PlayStations to work with on that PlayStation Plus tier. So yeah, when people want to bring to me that PlayStation Plus is a competitor or is an option is more value, no, it's not an option if you're gaming on Xbox. You know what I mean? If you're gaming on Xbox, if your ways of consuming Game Pass is on Xbox, which is likely, PC, which is also likely, or cloud, which is kind of likely, then PlayStation Plus is not an option for you. To go and tell somebody, oh, go to PlayStation Plus, you are telling them to potentially buy a PlayStation 5 console. That's a buy-in price, and then subscribe to their service. And then you can't really rely on their service because they don't get the latest and greatest day one. that's only offered on Game Pass. So people who want to bring this argument, there's a lot of people arguing with me on X regarding like, PlayStation Plus being an option and it's a competitor, it has more games and all that stuff. Like, no, it's not a competitor. It's not a competitor. Just like there's no competitor to PlayStation Plus on PlayStation because Game Pass doesn't exist on PlayStation. So your only option is PlayStation Plus. And for those who are on Xbox, your option is Game Pass or buy the games. But think about it from a console standpoint, right? It's not even just Game Pass or buy. You still got to be subscribed to some version of Game Pass, right? I think you have to be subscribed to at least Essential. You have to play at least a minimum $10 a month. You know why? Because let's say I'm not going to game through subscription anymore, right? You're still pretty much paying for the subscription, just the baseline model, because the other games you'll be playing, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, that's the multiplayer. You need a Game Pass account to engage in the multiplayer portion of those games. Same way you would need a PlayStation Plus account to engage into the multiplayer of those games. Doesn't have to be the most expensive one. You just need, I think, the baseline one. Now for PC, this is a little different. So PC obviously is more trades. You could say, hey, I'm not going to, if you don't want to if you don't want to subscribe to video games on PC, you don't have to, because you have a marketplace of, you Steam, GOG, whatever. You could buy your games and you don't have to pay another provider for gaming online. You're paying your internet bill. That's what pretty much allows that to happen. On console, that is different. So, however, if you are a gamer on PC and you like consuming games the way you like consuming movies, the way you like consuming music, and that's through a subscription, then Game Pass becomes like your only option, really. I think there's something with Amazon Prime Gaming or something like that. There's Ubisoft. Actually, no. PC got some options, but those options become weird because they're curated to specific types of titles from specific publishers. Game Pass is that all-in-one thing until PlayStation Plus comes to PC, and we don't know if that's going to happen. So, yes, there is no real competitor to Game Pass. That's why a person can't just say, "Oh, I'm canceling." I mean, you can if your mindset, if you just don't game like that, or Xbox is not really a primary option for you gaming. It's probably easier to do that. If you have heavy playtime on PC, if you have heavy playtime on PlayStation, probably a little bit easier to say, all right, I'm not going to do it. But the average individual that is on Xbox, right, and playing daily on Xbox, canceling is not really an option. The option is either to downgrade or the only option is to downgrade, buy your games, whatever, or get rid of the box, or move to another platform where your library can at least move with you and you just play it cheaper, and that's PC. Because the PC one is only $16 a month, which is an increase from its $10 usual. So I guess I say that to say this. I probably was kind of said this in a long way, but there is someone just can't cancel. It's not a real answer. So I can't even entertain these these content creators, these people on X, these people on YouTube, shouting from the rooftop. And I know everybody's taking their jabs and whatnot, and Microsoft deserve it because they're assholes, they're greedy, and they're inconsistent, they're incoherent with their decision making. The problem is GameStop said, oh, they're going to still sell them for $20, right? Just to give you guys a heads up, right? Of course they're still going to sell them for $20 because they have to sell through their stock. They've never sold out of stock of Game Pass. What Microsoft just did is probably just cause retailers like GameStop, like Best Buy, like Amazon to sell more of their existing $59.99 stock for their 3 months for the $19.99. Remember, those cards are already printed, and they're already printed with their pricing. So when you grab a Game Pass card from a retail store or Amazon, it already has the cost of it on a card. So they can't just say, oh, no, that's $10 more. You got to give me another $10. No, you got to sell that until they get the replacement batches in. And Microsoft can't just cancel or deny or decline those cards or change the value of those cards. You know how they change the value? Like if you bought like an Xbox Live Gold, you could find some old ass Xbox Live Gold cards for $60. When you redeem that shit, it converts into like, in this case, it'll probably convert to like a premium or essential version of Game Pass for like a couple months. That's all it can do, right? But as far as like those Game Pass, those existing Game Pass cards that you find at GameStop, that you find at Best Buy, Amazon, and stuff like that, those are printed already. They're printed, they're priced, whatever, they're already accounted for. So those are going to be selling until they don't have any more. Once they don't have any more, those stocks are going to get replenished with now the more expensive cards. So you get that? So don't buy into Game Pass. GameStop is being the hero. No, they got a whole shit ton of Game Pass cards that they got to get rid of or that they got to sell that they can't price hike. They can't. They have to sell it at the value that they are. That's the thing. That's the gift and a curse with digital currency, with digital subscriptions and stuff. Like, for example, when you go into GameStop and they're selling these digital Madden cards or, Call of Duty, Battlefield, those prices are stuck at the price that they are. That $59.99, $69.99. You could probably walk into a GameStop right now, find like a Madden 24 digital Xbox card at $59.99 because there's no choice. They can't discount it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? That's to give it. If it was a physical copy, that's different. You might get a used one, or they could discount it. It fluctuates. But this is a card with the price printed on it. You know what I mean? So I apologize for my background. I haven't found a scenario where that actually I've got a card that says, hey, this is $59.99 tag, and then they discount it to like $30. Never seen it happen, right? So that is the cheat code. That's why you can go to Amazon right now, despite Xbox's price increase of Game Pass, and buy Game Pass cards at the old price, because they have to sell through that stock. So that's why if you want to avoid this increase, that's why people are buying multiple cards. So right now, Game Pass is probably a number one seller. They're buying multiple Game Pass cards to stack so they can have Game Pass for multiple years and not feel the increase. So in this case, Xbox they're getting more subscribers in this. They're realizing sales. It's regardless. You're not really beating the system, right? You are still buying too. I don't think they really care how you access Game Pass. Somebody's paying for it. And I'm not saying that to like big them up, but I'm telling you, it's not really an option really for someone to cancel. Because my thing is, Xbox raise the price of Game Pass. Some people say they're going out and canceling. Some people are buying up old price Game Pass cards to stack. So clearly there is a need or a want for it. There's clearly still value if you're finding ways to extend your subscription to avoid the increase. That means you still find value in the service. So I just need you guys, stop lying. You know what I mean? It's okay to be upset. It's okay to bash Microsoft and Xbox for this increase. I think the increase is stupid too, and it's negatively impacting me, and that's why I gotta go through. But shout out to them for not increasing my shit, because October is good, November is good, and then maybe I might do some stacking, or I'm gonna go to PC Game Pass. Either way, it is what it is, because I don't think it's realistic to be like, oh, I'm done, because I'm still want to play on Xbox, and I'm still gonna want to play my Xbox games. PlayStation Plus isn't an option here. It's not. PlayStation Plus doesn't exist on Xbox, doesn't exist on PC. So the only option is don't game on subscription and buy my games outright. That's the only freaking option. Or downgrade your tier. But this is that way because there is no real competitor to Xbox Game Pass. Every gaming device we had was an open platform like PC. There would be other things people can do. But if you're on Xbox, you're an Xbox only customer, which some of us exists, there ain't no option. All right, that's my video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Sorry I went a little long, 15 minutes. I'm going to go and do some work. But I need you guys to check out this video, watch it realistically, respond realistically. Don't be a dick. Don't call me a shill. I'm just speaking realistically. I thought about this, and this is what came out. And by the way, I need what I need content creators to stop doing. Stop giving people the year price of Game Pass, because at the end of the day, it's the reason why Microsoft can't come out and just keep giving you subscription numbers, because people add and drop all the time. So that means there are people in this world subscribed to Game Pass that's not paying for Game Pass year round. That I argue 6 months of Game Pass, you're good. You need Q1 and Q4. That's when the best games comes out. It's enough time to get all the games, and you're still cheaper than your typical cost of buying those games outright for the year. So that's my thoughts, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Peace.